Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, allow feelings of any stress, tension, any worries to leave your body in your outward breath. As you breathe in and breathe out, notice that with your eyes closed, you can give more of your attention to the sound of my voice and the meaning of my words. And sometimes as I talk, you could imagine my words as words in your mind's eye. And sometimes those words will turn into images or movies that represent those words. And as you breathe in, you're breathing in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, just accept that your body is becoming more and more relaxed. And you can position your body in a way to make yourself even more comfortable. And start to scan your body for any feelings of tension. And you might be surprised at where tension is being held. Sometimes it's in unexpected places. We expect tension to be around the eyes and the forehead and the neck and the shoulders. But we don't expect tension to be around the nostrils or the mouth, in fingers or toes. So as you breathe in and breathe out, give permission to yourself to let go of that tension, so that your arms can feel limp, loose and heavy, that your jaw can loosen, that your breathing becomes more fluid and effortless. And as your body relaxes, your imagination becomes more active. And I want you to imagine a luxurious spa that is outside under blue skies and sunshine. And I want you to imagine you have this entire spa just for yourself. There are thermal pools, jacuzzis, waterfalls that can have cascading water, putting pressure on the muscles in your back and your shoulders. And imagine that all of this water comes from thermal springs, giving your body essential minerals and nutrients to improve a sense of health and well-being. In this spa, I want you to accept that it's recharging your batteries, that the minerals in this wonderful spa of pools, of an incredible landscape around. Notice the blue skies, the occasional fluffy white cloud, but feeling the sunshine on your skin is giving your body everything that it needs. Recharging your batteries, giving you wonderful resources. Resources like confidence, a feeling of resilience, that you can handle more things, determination. Even relaxation is a resource, because nobody would want a life of permanent stress and overwhelm. And relaxation is that window in time where you can reset and reevaluate what's important in your life. And for some people, the important things are the people they love, the meaningfulness of the work they do, and the preciousness of time. And I want you to imagine you're in perhaps a jacuzzi or a warm pool of water. And bizarrely, next to the side of that pool or jacuzzi, I want you to imagine an old-fashioned grandfather clock with a swinging pendulum. And notice the digits on the clock might be old-fashioned numbers. You might even hear a ticking of that clock as you see the pendulum swing. And I want you to imagine seeing the minute hand on the clock turn around. And I want you to get a sense of how much time 2 hours a day really is. 2 hours a day over 7 days is 14 hours. That's almost a full working day each week. 2 hours a day over a year is 43 days. And I wonder how valuable an extra 43 days a year would be. 43 days of waking time, of time that you can actually use, because you still need to sleep 6 to 8 hours every single night. But an extra 43 days of waking time, what difference could that make to your career? How many more memories and moments and experience could that give you with your family? An extra vacation, holiday, in addition to improving your health and well-being, as you entertain just how significant 2 hours a day really is. As you relax in this spa, I want you to imagine yourself in your working life, but I want you to see yourself operating from a new standard. And this standard is simply that you can smoke as much as you want, but only if when you smoke, you only smoke and do nothing else. No chatting to other people, no spending time on your phone. That smoking is only for smoking. And I want you to see this version of you in your real life operating from that new standard. I want you to see that when you are scrolling on your phone, you're only scrolling on your phone. When you're replying to client messages or inquiries, there is no cigarette in your hand. Notice that there's more time that you spend in your place of work rather than being outside, that you're making healthier choices, that you're getting more work done, that it gives you more time. But then also see that version of you going out for cigarette breaks only to smoke. Whereas before you might smoke slowly while you're also on your phone, now you would see yourself smoking quickly, maybe just 2 or 3 minutes for each cigarette break. But when you observe yourself doing that, that's the only thing that you're doing. They might be shorter, but that 2 or 3 minutes each cigarette break, 40 or 50 times a day, adds up to an average of almost 2 hours a day. And I want you to see that version of you choosing to invest 2 hours a day, 14 hours a week, 43 days a year, just for smoking and smoking alone. See the days turn into weeks, and the weeks turning into a year, where that version of you has chosen to give and allocate 43 waking hours a year, 43 waking days a year, just to smoke. And notice that the more you do it, the less happy you seem to be smoking. You can tell from your facial expressions that you're resenting the time given to smoking. It annoys you that you have to make it. It annoys you that you have to go outside and just give that time. You don't even seem to be enjoying it when you are smoking. You seem impatient, eager to get back to doing whatever you were doing before. And if you can see that version of you growing more and more resentful of having to give that time to this unhealthy habit that ages you rapidly, is detrimental to your health, and is a frustration for those people around you that love you the most. If you can see that resentment growing, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to create an image in your mind of an empty reservoir with a fragile dam. And as you see yourself smoking day after day, cigarette break after cigarette break, see the reservoir rising. See that reservoir of resentment building and building until it puts all the pressure on the dam. Until you see the dam break. And when the dam breaks, you've become a non-smoker. Someone that is not willing to smoke because it doesn't give you enough back. It's not a good use of your time. You don't enjoy it. It's doing nothing for you. And all it takes is a decision to go from mindlessly smoking to mindfully smoking, knowing that the more that you mindfully smoke, the less desire you will have to smoke. And if you're willing to make that decision to only mindfully smoke and to dedicate time to smoking when you want to smoke, let me know by nodding your head. And then I want you to imagine that you're going back in time, but this time you're in your own body. But rather than having a cigarette break while you're scrolling on your phone or replying to messages, imagine walking outside and just smoking and doing nothing else. Realizing that the smell, the taste, the flavor reminds you of that very first time that you smoked that kind of felt disgusting. As you smoke, you realize that it's not enjoyable and it's stealing time from you. It's stealing 2 hours a day, 14 hours a week, 43 days a year. And I want you to try your hardest to enjoy smoking. Feel you inhale that cigarette while simultaneously holding on to the thought that you have so much better things to do, that this isn't the best use of your time, that I should go back to work, that this habit is stealing your time in the present, but also stealing your time from the future. And feel that reservoir of resentment build and build and build. And notice that the harder you try to enjoy smoking, the more resentful of smoking you become. That the more you mindfully smoke, the more you realize that you don't want to smoke at all. And as you can feel that resentment and that resolve building, the smoking is just a waste of your time. Let me know by nodding your head. And then picture the dam of that reservoir breaking, and you throw that cigarette down for the very last time, realizing that by making the decision to only smoke with no distractions forced you to mindfully smoke, which then made you realize that you don't want to smoke at all, that short-term discipline was a bridge of freedom. And then see that future version of you and what you would do with an extra 2 hours a day. How much more successful and happier in your life would you be with an extra 14 hours a week? And see that future version of you with an extra 43 days a year of waking time. See your business growing, your health improving, the relationship with the people you love the most improving, all because you made a decision that when you smoke, you do nothing else but smoke, creating a paradox that by choosing to smoke and smoke alone was what was required to free you from the habit of smoking. And if your unconscious mind is willing to turn this idea into a reality, to create a new parameter, a boundary, a standard moving forward, knowing that this will free you and buy you 2 hours a day, 14 hours a week, 43 days a year, let me know by nodding your head. And then find yourself back in that spa, feeling the warmth of the water, the sun on your skin, but feeling that you were just perhaps days or weeks away from becoming a non-smoker. And that paradoxically, you'll become more aware of your smoking to free you from your smoking. As you continue to see that old-fashioned grandfather clock, the pendulum continues to swing, as you realize that time is infinitely more important to you than smoking ever was. Hold on to that thought and return to the present, hearing my voice, here in this moment, taking all parts from the future and the past back into this present with a resolve that when you smoke, you only smoke, no distractions, no phone, no conversations, knowing that this is simply a stepping stone to freedom. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, get a sense that you're back in your body, firmly in the present right now. As I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you, you will awaken feeling optimistic, resolved, knowing that you only need discipline for a short period of time before your reservoir of resentment breaks this habit permanently. Starting to count to awaken you. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.